You always thought criminals knew they were breaking the law. You thought ruining your life required a shady deal, a dark alley, or at least a conscious, reckless choice. You never imagined that the line between an ambitious programmer and a severe narcotics offender could be crossed in the quiet safety of your own kitchen before you even put on your winter coat. You wake up to the harsh gray light filtering through the cheap plastic blinds of your tiny office till it is 6 in the morning. Your body is heavy, still holding on to the bone-deep fatigue from yesterday's 14-hour coding sprint. Building the back-end infrastructure for a massive local delivery app leaves no room for rest. You stare at the ceiling for a moment, tracing a faint water stain in the corner. You remind yourself of the numbers. You paid a $5 million deposit just to secure this tiny windowless box near the tech district. You pay $600,000 a month in rent. You want this job. You want this career you're trying to build. You force yourself out of bed. The floor is freezing. The traditional floor heating takes too much electricity, so you leave it off. You walk to the cramped kitchen counter, which doubles as your dining table and your workstation. Next to a tangled mess of charging cables, an open laptop, and a generic deodorant stick, sits a small, translucent orange plastic cylinder. You twist off the white cap. You shake out a single, pale blue pill into the palm of your hand. You have been taking this exact compound for an attention disorder since you were 12 years old. Taking your prescribed daily dose with your morning coffee is as routine as putting in your contact lenses or brushing your teeth. It is the invisible scaffolding that holds your scattered mind together, the chemical baseline that makes you a functional adult. You swallow the pill with a mouthful of lukewarm water from a plastic bottle you bought at the 24-hour convenience store downstairs. You pack your laptop bag and head out. You step into the freezing winter morning. The wind off the massive river that divides the city cuts right through your heavy wool coat. You swipe your transit card at the subway turnstile. You join the endless, suffocating ocean of black puffer jackets descending into the depths of the underground station. The commute is a daily battle of endurance. You transfer during the peak of rush hour. The crush of bodies is absolute. You are pressed against the glass doors of the train surrounded by millions of people, yet you have never felt more intensely alone. But as the train moves under the city, you feel a familiar, quiet clarity washing over your brain. The morning routine is working. The overwhelming sensory overload of the subway fades into a manageable, distant drone. You are ready to navigate this foreign world. But today is not a normal day at the office. You have an appointment to finalize your sponsored work visa and officially secure your employment contract. The government requires a mandatory comprehensive health screening at a designated local clinic. You get off at the financial district station and walk 3 blocks to the building. The hospital smells intensely sterile. It is a sharp mixture of rubbing alcohol and floor wax. You approach the reception desk, hand over your passport and 2 perfectly cut photographs, and pay the $50,001 processing fee with your debit card. The nurses are efficient. They move you from station to station with practiced indifference. They measure your height. They check your vision. They draw a vial of blood from your arm. Finally, a tired nurse hands you a small, clear plastic cup with a lid. She points down the hallway toward the restrooms. You take the cup. You feel completely unbothered. You do not smoke. You barely drink anything stronger than the cheap green bottles of local liquor you split with your exhausted coworkers on Friday nights. You fill the cup to the designated black line and leave it on the metal tray by the door. You return to the waiting area. You sit on a rigid vinyl chair and pull out your phone, scrolling through messages from friends back home. They are asleep. The time zone difference is a constant, quiet reminder of how far away you are. 20 minutes pass. Then a nurse calls your name. Her voice is tight. She does not look you in the eye. She gestures for you to follow her down a narrow corridor away from the main waiting room. She opens the door to the head doctor's office and steps aside, letting you enter. The doctor is an older man with thinning hair and thin wire-rimmed glasses. He is sitting behind a heavy wooden desk. He does not greet you. He is staring at a sheet of paper in his hands. His face is completely pale. You sit down in the chair opposite him. You offer a polite, rehearsed greeting in broken local phrases. He does not respond. He places the paper on the desk and slides it toward you. "You tested positive," he says. His English is heavily accented, but the words are unmistakably clear. You look down at the paper. There are columns of foreign text, but one word is printed in English letters, highlighted in stark, terrifying red. It is the chemical classification of your daily morning pill, categorized under severe stimulants. You exhale. A wave of relief washes over you. It is just a misunderstanding. You smile, a relaxed expression forming on your face. You tell him you have a prescription. You tell him it is for a diagnosed medical condition, brought directly from your home country. You reach into your heavy winter coat. You pull out the familiar orange plastic container. You confidently slide your domestic prescription across the desk, pushing it right next to the test results. You expect him to make a quick note on your file, stamp your paperwork, and send you on your way. You expect logic. Instead, the doctor pulls his hands back from the plastic as if it were burning hot. He looks from the orange container to your face. His expression is not one of understanding. It is a look of absolute horror. He tells you, his voice dropping to a harsh whisper, that this is not medicine here. Your smile falters. The air in the room suddenly feels terribly thin. You argue that you have a doctor's note. You point to the label. You state that your name is right there and that it is entirely legal. He interrupts you, his tone rigid and unyielding. He tells you it might be legal where you are from, but not in this country. He explains, slowly, carefully choosing his English words, that under the National Narcotics Control Act, these specific chemical substances are strictly prohibited. There are no exceptions for foreign prescriptions. There is no approved medical treatment using this specific compound within the country borders. To possess it, he says, gesturing to the innocent orange cylinder, is a severe criminal offense. You stare at the container, the exact same plastic bottle that sits on millions of bathroom counters across your home country. The exact same item you bought at a brightly lit neighborhood pharmacy next to the toothpaste. It takes exactly 3 seconds for your brain to process the magnitude of what he is saying. What makes you a functional adult in your homeland makes you a hard drug offender under local law. You stammer that you did not know. Your hands feel cold. The blood is rushing in your ears. You mention that you crossed customs and no one said anything at the airport. The doctor replies coldly that border agents make mistakes, but the law does not. He reaches for the black landline phone on his desk. You ask what he's doing. Your voice is trembling. He states that he is a licensed medical professional. He has a legal obligation to report positive narcotics tests to the authorities. He dials the numbers. You sit frozen in the hard wooden chair. You are thousands of miles away from your family. You are thousands of miles away from your own legal system. You do not speak the language. You do not know a single lawyer in this hemisphere. You watch the doctor speak rapidly into the phone. You catch the word "for police." He puts the receiver down and looks at you. He tells you they are coming. He tells you that you must wait here. The doctor leaves the room, closing the heavy wooden door behind him. You are entirely alone. You stare at the orange container on the desk. It looks so profoundly out of place. You realize, with a sickening, hollow feeling in your stomach, that your ignorance is not a defense. Cultural unawareness does not rewrite the penal code of a sovereign nation. You are not a sponsored expat anymore. You are a suspect. 10 minutes pass, then 20. The silence in the office is agonizing. The door opens slowly. It is not the police. It is an older local woman, a cleaning ajumma. She is wearing a faded pink uniform and pushing a small gray cart. She stops when she sees you sitting in the dark, silent office. She has a kind, heavily lined face. She looks at your pale, terrified expression. She looks at your hands, tightly gripping your knees. She does not speak English. She does not know what is happening. But she recognizes fear. She recognizes the crushing weight of someone who is entirely alone in a room they cannot leave. She steps into the room. She reaches into the deep pocket of her pink apron. She pulls out a small, individually wrapped piece of ginseng candy. She walks over to you, her worn sneakers barely making a sound on the linoleum floor. She places the small gold-wrapped candy on the edge of the desk, right next to your illegal foreign prescription. She gives you a small, sympathetic nod. Then she turns around, takes her cart, and quietly closes the door behind her. You stare at the piece of candy. It is a tiny, fleeting gesture of human warmth, a small mercy in a room that is rapidly becoming your holding cell. You reach out and touch the gold foil. Your hand is shaking violently. You hear heavy footsteps resounding in the hallway outside. You hear the sharp static of a police radio. You look at the orange container one last time. You came to this country to code, to build a career, to experience a different side of the world. You did everything you were supposed to do. You followed the rules. You brought your medication so you could focus and meet your impossible deadlines. And in 5 minutes, men in uniform are going to walk through that door, put you in handcuffs, and completely dismantle your life. You unwrap the piece of ginseng candy. You place it on your tongue. It tastes bitter, earthy, and intensely foreign. The door handle turns. That wraps it up for today. The story you just heard is fiction. But if you've ever lived alone in a foreign country, you know that the loneliest moments aren't when you are missing home or when you are struggling with the language. It is the terrifying realization that your cultural innocence can become your absolute destruction in the blink of an eye. If this one hit different, drop a comment and tell me which part stayed with you. I've got more stories like this coming, so hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one.